Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David King.
I'm Fred Cilbrith.
And I'm Dave Ryan.
And welcome to another edition of Keeping It Real. Well, Fred, I want to thank our guest last week for coming on, and she gave us a lot of good inside information, and I also want to once again thank her for coming on the show last week. It was very nice of her to come out and be a guest on our show.
Randy, once again, it was great having you, so it was a pleasure having you.
Right. But, unfortunately, this leads us, I don't mean unfortunately, but it brings us to today's episode. Of course, Fred, we mentioned last week you had a loved one that passed away. Like I said, once again, my condolences to you and your family. But that's exactly who we're here to talk about today. Your grandmother. Well, go ahead, tell us who she is. Or was.
Was.
I mean, my grandmother was a very kind person. She always helped out people. She always was there for people. She always was able to talk to anybody at any given time. You know, she's very kind and she always had a smile on her face, which was good.
I remember meeting her at the cookout you had at the house last year, and I sat down with her for an hour. We talked and talked and talked. I felt, just talking for a few minutes with this nice lady. I felt like I'd known her for a very long time.
She had that ability with people.
She was really good.
I remember I met her once at a cookout. She gave me a hug. I mean, I didn't get to know her more like I would like to, had to get to know her. But I'm pretty sure, she's a very nice lady. I mean, when I met her, she's always high spirited and very, very sweet lady. And I mean, she will be missed by me. And I only met her, like I said, that once or twice. But I know for your family, she will be missed very dearly. And I can't blame them. So, I mean, my question I have for you. Was this like an ongoing, or was it just a suddenly passing?
I mean, she had a lot of problems with her blood count, which, made her pass. And when we found out, it was like anything. It's like you getting hit with a truck.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't.
Well, it's that kind of feeling, even though it's not physical, the kind of thing. But, she was a fighter. She was in the hospital for almost a month, and she just kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting. And, my family was like, how are you still here? But she was actually still fighting and still fighting. So when it happened, it was kind of like, what the heck?
Well, I'm proud of her for just hearing about that. I mean, she kept fighting. I mean,
yeah.
I think I would too.
I want to thank everybody that came out to the wake and the funeral. It meant a lot to me and my family, especially Maria and everybody that came out. It's just, the amount of people she touched in her life was astronomical.
Wow, I bet.
I'm
sure it was.
It bites when you lose a loved one, like we talked about a couple weeks back when I lost Tyler.
My condolences for that as well.
Yeah, mine as well.
And I appreciate all those who did come to his wake and his funeral. But just like with your grandmother. It bites when you lose somebody. It really does. And unfortunately, there's things that are undefeated. Mother Nature, taxes, and death.
That's right, yeah. The big three, huh?
Yeah, the Three Musketeers, and they're not a fun group to hang with.
Nope.
No, not that lot, no.
But I mean, like I said before, and I know, Fred, I'm sure you can understand, Dave, Ryan, you probably as well, it doesn't really hit you until it hits home,
Right.
You see a lot of deaths growing up. You hear about a lot of people passing. But until it hits home, meaning when it's one of your friends or one of your relatives or whatever the case may be, then it really hits home in general about, your own life.
I mean, the hardest part for me was the burial.
I think that's the hardest part for everybody.
I think so, too, yeah. That's when it really hits you.
Just to see that was, it was like, wow, she's not coming back home.
And I think that's the realization, like even I had got with Tyler passing. I mean, the realization of he's not coming home. The realization.
But you got to think, Dave. They're in a better place.
They're no longer suffering.
They're not in agony or anything like that. They're probably walking around up there or somewhere.
Well, hey, most definitely, and that's where we plan to try to go when we leave here.
Yeah, we try to. That's right.
I mean, we all, make mistakes. But I always say, if you've done more good than bad in your life, then, hey, maybe that'll open up the doors. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we can't do everything perfect in life. There's no way.
No.
And we're not going to do everything like the way we should because we're surrounded by situations and moments that prevent us from always doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
We run into some people that don't deserve to be treated the right way, even.
Yeah.
But, we try to stay on the up and up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sorry.
No,
One of the biggest things that I remember with Kelli Grandma is that, we'd always used to go to like Barnes and Noble and spend like 3 hours looking for one book.
I guess that's why you're booked for
That's
that.
a heck of a way
Yeah.
to spend a day.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's the little things that you do that really means a lot. And it's the little things that you do that you're most remembered of.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not always the biggest things you do.
I know Easter just passed, so she would have been 73
Oh, wow.
Really? Wow.
on Easter Sunday.
That's young.
I mean, that is young. I mean,
My mom and dad are 80. My dad's 83. My mom's 81. And
congratulations.
Thanks.
That is a plus.
For that's a plus, man.
their health is not the greatest though, but they're chugging along pretty darn good though. So we're all helping each other out.
I mean,
Hey, that's
Dave,
all you
how
can do.
That's right.
I mean, Dave, I'm sure you've seen death as well in your life.
Yeah.
How do you take it? How do you deal with it? How do you...
A lot better now than I used to. It used to be rough, but then after a while it just becomes okay. Well, we knew it was coming, so it's not a big surprise, but it is a surprise no matter what. No,
Oh yeah, definitely.
but
I mean, okay, my question to you guys is this. And one by one, I want to know your guys' opinion. What do you feel, how do you feel about death? Does it scare you? And where do you think you go when you leave death? Because everybody has their own opinion. Where
Right.
some people believe that you don't go anywhere, you just return to sleep. Some people say you go to heaven. Some people say, well, you go. I'm not gonna say we're on there.
go in the other
Right,
direction.
right.
But I mean, okay, going down the line, Fred, let's start with you. Since you're, what about you?
I mean,
Does death scare you?
when I was a kid, at 7 years old,
I think every kid is
it
scary.
it used to scare me.
Right, you don't understand it as much.
Now you try to understand things, but you can't understand it because you're not there yet. That hasn't happened for you yet. But as far as us passing on and going on to our different lives after the afterlife, I do believe that we go somewhere in the afterlife, whether it's heaven or what we can't say on TV.
Go to you.
Yeah,
Go to
we go to
Whoville.
Yoo-Hoo.
Go to Whoville, but you don't get no green eggs and ham. No.
Got red eggs in him. But I mean, do you, Fred, like, okay, when you went to a funeral, you went to two actually. Do you feel like, okay, now that scares you about when is your death coming up?
I mean,
Or do you just kind of like embrace the death?
with the two funerals that I went to, especially with Tyler's, it made me think about my life, and if I was next or if I am next. Hopefully I'm not. Hopefully you and me and Dave here, we're sitting here, we could do a show next week, so hopefully
That's
we're not
right.
next.
For real.
Absolutely.
But it made me think of like reevaluate things, think about how to do things better in my life, what I should do better, what I should get better at, what I should go back to, what I shouldn't do anymore. Things like that.
Well, my
What
thing.
about you, Dave?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that, Dave. I was just thinking, I used to have a few bad habits. I used to drink a lot more, and I used to smoke cigarettes and cigars and stuff like that. I stopped all that now.
You smoke a cigar?
I used to.
Right.
I used
learn
to.
something new.
I used to smoke. I used to smoke a pack a day.
Of cigars.
No. I used to have
How about that? Like, whoa.
A pack of cigarettes a day?
pack of cigarettes a day,
That's 20 cigarettes in one box.
something like that. Yeah, in a day.
a
No
lot.
more. Gave them right up, cold turkey.
That's good.
Don't miss them, because you know what? It's just a bad habit, and this is one of the many bad habits out there that people get into.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I only got into like 2 or 3 really bad habits, but you know, being kind to one another is a good habit to get into. Getting involved with your house of worship, wherever your faith is, and getting involved with that group, you're going to start being more inspired to do good things. And then when you do a lot of good things, like I have, death won't be so bad when it comes in your face. No, I'm only kidding. But anyway, no, it's you know, you got to make changes in your life. You got to start doing more more constructive activities, more constructive activities, whatever they may be.
You know, Kelli Grandma always thought that that everybody had a purpose in life while you're here. And I think, you know, after her passing and me going to school and, you know, graduating from that and trying to get a degree and stuff, I think, you know, me writing and me doing this is my purpose. Me giving back to people that are less fortunate and trying to inspire them like we do every week, Dave. I think that is my purpose.
I mean, most definitely. I mean, but for me, I'm not gonna leave me out of the loop here. For me, my thing is with death, it's like this. It's never a nice thing, and there's no.
No.
Like Dave Ryan said, well, at least it'd be more friendlier when it comes. It's never that friendly when it comes because you don't want it to come. But the thing is, I've learned to embrace it because I always said it's part of life. It's like
is.
Everything living will die, you know, unfortunately. And you have to accept what's going to happen regardless. But I always look at, like you said, get in touch with your faith, whatever you believe in. But, you know, I also look at it, do something for mankind that means something. And of course, leave a part of you that will be remembered for time to come.
Exactly.
Like I always say to Fred, what we do, we cannot physically be here forever. There's no way of that happening.
Yeah.
But what we do and the work we leave behind can. You look at the person who painted the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
You look at the war that George Washington did. You look at what Dr. Martin Luther King did.
Right.
You look at even when Obama becoming the first African American president. You look at all stuff just with them, what they did. They are, you know, some of them are no longer here. Obama is still here, but one day they all won't be here. But what they've already done will always be mentioned for times to come.
Yeah, they left a legacy.
Right, and that's what I hope to leave when I leave here. You know, knowing that I try to be a voice for my disability community, and of course even with my music. But I mean, you know, for me, I feel like doing this keep my mind off of that. And like you said, you know, every day you go to bed, you hope I wake up tomorrow to do everything, whatever it is that you do, which everyday life you hope to wake up and do it again.
Right.
And every day that I do open my eyes and take another breath, and you're like, thank you for letting me get up and do whatever I'm about to do again and again and again and again. Because life is too short, and that's one thing I learned about my friend Tyler passing and your grandmother passing. That life is too short. Tomorrow ain't promised.
I was just going to say that.
And don't take it for granted. Even when you're young, that don't mean death ain't around the corner. Just because you're 21 don't mean death ain't coming.
Yeah. Oh, we've lost a lot of people at a young age.
I think, and that's a big problem. A lot of us young people, we don't think about death, which is good, but it's a problem because we are so reckless because we don't fear death because we feel that it can't happen to me because I'm too young right now to death. You know, you notice, okay, for example, when you're older, you understand that. You understand
because you've seen it, because you've seen so much of it.
You've seen it so much.
You've experienced it.
You understand that, you know, your time is slowly creeping, you know.
Yep.
When you're young, you're like, well, I'm only 18. I got a long ways to go. Oh, I'm only 29. I got a long ways to go. But that's the thing, though, you don't. Because death could come at 17.
Never know.
Death comes to babies that are 2.
Yep.
Death comes to 8-year-olds. Death doesn't, listen, Death don't have friends.
Death can come
Death's
to
not sitting here, it's like, yo, Dave Ryan, I like you, man. And just for you, I'm not going to do anything. Wrong. Death don't care about you, don't care about you, don't care about him, you don't care about her. Death don't take no holiday. Put a name in a basket, pull out your name, and there you go. You're coming with me.
You're picked. You're drafted.
I know what you're saying. Well, I'm in good health, so I can't be touched. Not necessarily. you could be in the perfect shape of your life.
Right.
And fall on the sidewalk of taking out your garbage.
Yep.
And it'll be the end of your life.
Or you get hit by a bus.
Thank you for the obvious. Yeah, but that's the thing. You know, you just gotta watch it and then just appreciate every day that we get. And I think that's something that your grandmother did.
Yeah.
And that's why she fought
most
so
definitely.
much. She fought so much because of you, your dad and her family, including your mom.
Yeah.
Who I heard did a tremendous job with being there the whole time. And
yeah, she was there.
thank you, Fred's mom.
She was there throughout the entire thing from what my dad
I show
said.
you have a big heart, and for her,
You know.
very appreciated. And even Tyler, he showed what you can do. Live your life to the fullest, even though he had this disability that was told that it was going to take his life when he was a little kid, but never let that stop him and never showed that, like, oh, I'm going to die. Well,
But I like
he lived his life.
I like to think that, like, the little signs that we see every day, like, okay, you talk about a ray of sunshine coming from clouds the other day or something.
Yeah.
That's their way of showing you I'm not gone.
I think
I'm not totally gone from your life.
I think it's like this. You're never totally gone if those people who love you, who still remain, are still around, because they'll never let you totally die, because your memories to them will always be alive inside of them. That your grandmother and all your memories of her, well, that is where she's at. She's in your heart, she's in your dad's heart and your family's heart. All the great memories and all the great times you guys had together. And the same thing with me when it came with Tyler, and all the great times in high school and all the great memories that me and him have. That's why he's still alive. I always believe that if you come in this world and you're loved,
Right.
and you leave this world and you are loved, then everything you did in the middle between that
Right.
can be forgotten about.
Right.
Because, everybody remembers when you're born, and everybody remembers you right before you die. But
They
nobody
do.
cares anymore when you're nowhere
About
near
in-
what
the
you did
in-between, yeah. Right.
Exactly. So that's the whole point. You came in this world, you were loved. Before you left, what have you done? Was you a good person?
Right.
Was you a mean person?
Mm-hmm.
Was you that kind of that I feel, to me, says, well, that person is a good person or a bad person. Because let me tell you something, you leave this world and the last memory we had is that you were a killer or you're a rapist, then nobody cares that you're dead. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what people say? I'm gonna be real, this is keeping it real. People are happy that you are no longer here. If you were a rapist, you were a murderer, and you were a molester, people are happy that you are not here when you go. And, and nobody's coming to
imagine.
because nobody feels bad.
Right.
But those people who did things good for people, those people who did look out for people and always were there for a shoulder to lean on and cry on.
That was my grandmother.
Those
man.
people,
Yeah.
those people that people remember, and those people that people
That was
mourn
Kelli
their
Grandma.
loss. And you said that was your grandmother, and I believe it. But that's why, like you said, at her funeral, she was so loved. But she would not have been loved if she was a murderer. And we'd be like, well, hey, there she go.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. The same thing goes for you. The same thing goes for Dave and myself. If that's the kind of person we was, nobody would care when we're gone. But I know the three of us sitting here. I know there's got to be a spot for all three of us upstairs, because the simple fact that what we do every day, we look out for people, and we're trying to bring the message to the people, and I mean, we show that we love it. Can we even support one another like you did with my friend Tyler passing, and I am here, Dave's here, your grandmother passing, and even all the stuff that Dave goes through, and we try to keep in touch with Dave, but those are the kind of things that matter at the end of the day. It may not seem like it, but trust me, when we all pass away and we got to answer to that maker, all of this is in the books, okay?
Yeah.
It's like a giant book.
Yeah.
And when we're there, there ain't no Dave Ryan, there ain't no me, just you. And then there's just me, there ain't y'all, and there's Dave Ryan, there ain't us. And then I feel this book of your whole life, from the time you could understand life, because you can't judge them at 1 and 2 because they just don't understand.
Right.
But from the time that you capably can understand, from what you did wrong, from what you did good, that is what weighs the balance. And I feel like you done more good than bad, and you deserve a spot in heaven. Now I'm not the man upstairs, and I can't make that call officially, But I mean, that's just my opinion. I feel like how you, at the end of the day, get your ticket in. How much good have you left in society compared to how much terror have you left in society?
Right.
Because if you were Osama bin Laden and you don't blow the joint, ain't nobody, you know.
Yeah.
But in their faith, they believe they're doing the right thing. You know, that's a false teaching, but we'll get to that another time.
Yeah, another time, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said to my dad when my grandma passed. I was like, she's with my great grandfather, her husband, my great grandmother, and a bunch of other people that have passed on. You know, and she's happier. But I also like to say that, you know, it goes back to what you said. You know, cherish life. You know, I've waken up probably like 2-3 times each day after this, and I've been like, okay, I'm up. Let's see what I could do today.
Right.
Exactly.
Let's see if I could change today.
Not only about changing, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely, yeah.
Because there may not be a tomorrow. This could be, for example, our very
This
last
could be.
show.
Right, I could go to sleep tonight.
Could be it.
Sitting in this room or in this studio passed away tomorrow. There would not be another show.
Yeah.
But that's why I do appreciate those out here who watch us and give us that love and support. You know, I do appreciate it because it helps. And it's motivation that keeps us going every week.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
definitely.
But also I cherish life because we're here and I get to live another year. I get to live another week. I get to live another month. I get to live another hour. You know, you got to think about that. Every hour, every second, every minute, every year matters.
Yeah.
Because you can die in 30 minutes, 20 seconds, 1 month, 2 years. You never know.
No,
so you got to enjoy every single minute you have. Because the reality is this. And as Goodman, may he rest in peace, would say, well, the reality is this. We all have a clock, and it's always been ticking since the time we arrived on this.
That's right. Yep.
There's no stopping the clock, because if the clock stops, you're done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When that clock hits 0, that's over. You know, when that clock hits 0, you're gone.
That's it.
But in the meantime, you want to keep that clock ticking as long as you can. So that goes back to what your grandma, you said your grandma was a fighter, and she was fighting to stay alive. She was fighting to keep the clock going. Unfortunately, her clock did expire. But like you said, what she did and what she left behind, for her, she's smiling down on you right now, for one, thinking about her tonight on this show. And number 2, the fact is that, you know, she would want you to continue the fight that she can no longer do, for you to continue the fight, looking after for your family, continuing finishing school, continuing doing your book. I know Tyler looks down on me. He wants me to continue doing what I do, the show, the music, and everything. And Dave, whatever relatives that you may have passed away, looking on you and say, look, you know, you're older, but you're still going, you're still trooping it, and you ain't giving up. And you know what? That's what it's all about. Because, you know, I say what kills you is when you sit home and you give up. That's the death right there.
I'll agree with that.
I think so, absolutely.
You're staring at death. Here he is, and here I am. How you doing? How you doing? How we doing?
Yeah.
But when you're active, yeah, you know he could be around that corner, but you're keeping yourself active. And when you keep yourself active, you keep yourself healthy. You keep yourself moving.
Right, exactly.
You know, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, as one of our presidents once said. You know, so
we can't change the world unless we change ourselves.
You know, right, but at the same time, you know, embrace death, understand that it is there, but understand this, it's not my time. If I wake up today, then it's not my time today.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So then, with that said, I got to continue living my life, and that is what everybody at home should do. You know, yes, mourn those who we lost. Never forget the ones we lost, but understand that you got to push forward. You got to carry on their legacy. You know,
right.
Listen, when we're all born, we have you have a track line. You know, you have your ancestors, you have your great grandparents, your grandparents, your parents, and then you, and so forth. It keeps going. We have kids, so the grandparents, the ancestors go first, then your great grandparents, then your grandparents, then your parents, and then us. Right. Hopefully by that time, our generation of our kids are here.
Right.
So they can take our spot.
That's
and then keep our legacy going. You know?
Right.
But that depends. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you guys, as always, you can check us out at our email that you see at the bottom of your screen. We also have a YouTube that's called Keeping It Real with David King, that you guys can watch this video and others anytime you like. Also, there on the bottom of your screen, there's our Twitter page at 13 Keeping It Real. And yes, also our Facebook page at Keeping It Real with TV. So give us your feedback, your emails, opinions on this show and all.
The inbox is kind of empty, folks. So send them those emails, huh?
Thank you, Fred.
Yeah. Hey, what was your favorite thing that your grandmother made for you? As far as food.
Jeez, man.
I meant to ask that before.
She had this thing about making pasta. No, guys.
Really?
My family, we aren't Italian. I know that. Our biggest
Irish pasta. That's a good one.
No, pasta. Biggest thing is that she used to make pasta with every meal.
She did.
One Easter the joke was I said we were Italian. No, I'm Irish. So the biggest thing is that we weren't Italian.
My biggest thing with my buddy passing away was leather jacket that he gave me that I still have. I gotta get sold up at the cleaners.
Yeah.
But I still fit it and I still have it. I still have it in my closet. And he gave it to me one year back in high school.
Well, really?
And yeah, I still have it. I mean, but it was the thought that counts, and that's what mattered to me so much.
Yeah. It's
because like I said, it's the little things a lot of times that matter more. What about you, Dave? What about anybody you lost?
Yeah,
did they leave you anything?
Yes, they have.
You like?
Yes, they have. I was with the Milford's Independent Disabled Persons, and these were a lot of older people, religious people, and they left me some crucifixes and medallions from Italy and stuff like that. I still have them in a box at home, and I think of the lady that gave them to me. Her name was Veronica. She went to the St. Gabriel's Parish, and she was very big with the church when she was alive. And it was quite a group. Just a few other things that other people gave to me, too. Some guy gave me a set of golf clubs. I gave them to my dad because he was a golf player at one time, too. And I received clothes and stuff like that from other people that had been deceased. I still have most of the stuff, but I don't have all of them today.
Right.
Right.
So it's great. See, all of this, it's all great stuff.
Yeah.
But we are coming to the end of our show here tonight.
Right.
Any last words, Dave, you want to say?
Well, you know what? I think about people that left in my area, on the people that I've lost, and I wish we can get them back, but
exactly,
that's basically it.
Well, for me, I just want to say, continue going forward. And for me, my gift to everybody else, I want to be able to leave a piece of me behind, this show, my music, and to let you guys know that a person with a disability, part of the disability community, cares about people and the fellow men and women in his community. But normally, I close out the show. But like I said, my condolences to Fred's grandmother. So with that said, we're going to let Fred tonight close out the show. So Fred, take it.
I mean,
close it out.
Like Dave said, we appreciate you guys being with us every week, and I just want to say this show is for my family, my mother, my father, my aunt, my uncle, everybody. So this is my gift to you. Thank you.
I'm David King.
I'm Fred Cilbrith.
And I'm Dave Ryan.
Well, Fred, tell the folks.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.